الإمامي وكماله اللهم صل على محمد فما كان إلا سعد مريد عبيدة الحسن كذب وقال السلام عليك يا أم فروض وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني ثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أم إني أشم عندك رأيت ديوة كأنها رأيت جد رسول الله فقلنا من جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل حسننا وكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جده يا رسول الله أتعذر لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء فقال عليك السلام يا ولد يا صاحب عودي لك فدخل معه ذات الكساء فما كان إلا سعد مريد عبيدة الحسين كذب وقال السلام عليك يا أم فروض وعليك السلام يا ولدي يا قرة عيني ثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أم إني أشم عندك رعاية ديوة كأنها رعاية جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جده والسلام عليك يا من اختاره الله أتعذر لي نكون معكم تحت الكساء فقال عليك السلام يا ولد يا شافي أمتي فدنت لك ودخل معه تحت الكساء اللهم صل على محمد فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن يدي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت وعليك السلام يا بأسني يا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة بنتي أشم عندك رعاية ديوة فأنها رأيت أخي وابن عمي رسول الله فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت النساء فأقبل الدين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله تعذروا لنكون معكم تحت الكساء قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسيلي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي قال لك فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيتنا والكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبدا يا رسول الله أتعذر لنكون معكم تحت الكساء وقال عليك السلام يا بنتي وأبداتي لك فدخلت تحت الكساء اللهم صل على محمد فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء قضى برسول الله تحت الكساء ووضع بيد اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي خاصتي وحامتي لحم لحمي دم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم أنا حرب دون حاربهم وسلم دون سالمهم عدو من أعدائهم وحب دون حبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك عليهم وعليهم وعلمهم ورزقهم تهجيرا فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت السماء رمية ولا أرضا ملية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء فقال أمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء فقال عز وجل وأنت بيت النبوة معدن رسالة وفاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتعذر لي أن أهبط الأرض ليكون يوم سادسا فقال له نعم فأذنت لك فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله علي لا يحبك السلام ويخصك بتحية والإكرام ويقول لك عزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت السماء مبنية ولا أرضا مطية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا لأجل محبتكم وقال إن دين أكل معكم فهل تعذر لي يا رسول الله فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين ولي الله إنه نعم قد لك فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء اللهم صل على محمد وقال يا أن الله قد أوحى عليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليؤتي عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا
اللهم صل على محمد
فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني مع جلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا وصفاني بالرسالة نبيا ما أنتم قبلنا هذا في محفل من محافل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا المحبين إلا نزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم والملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا فقال علي نظام الله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا بالكعبة فقال النبي ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا وصفاني برسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في مافذ من محافظ الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا محبين وفيه مهموم إلا فرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا كشف الله همه ولا طالب حاجة إلا قضى الله حاجته فقال علي نظام الله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعيدوا في الدنيا على آخرة برب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل Mohib, you want to recite something? No. Why not? Guys, you want to recite some dua or anything? Where's Mehdi? You want to recite something? Come on, go ahead. Where's Mehdi? Is bachche ko bulao? Allahumma salli ala
Inshallah, we can get the program started. Lots of salawat. I want to ask first if any kids have anything that they want to recite. Mohib, Jafar, any surah that they have. Anything? Muhammad Rilla, anything? Please. Come on, you have to lead this effort. One surah, come on. Loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Nare salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم تخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك صوت عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
for us, Sir Syed? Not today. Alright. So next I want to get the program started. On by, if you can please come and recite something for us. Loud salawat.
एक सलवार के साथ आइए। सलाम खाक नशीनों पे सोगवारों का गरीब देते हैं पुरसा तुम्हारे प्यारों का सलाम उन्हें जिन्हें शर्म खाए जाती थी खुले सरों पे असीरी की खाक आती थी सलाम उस पे जो ज़हमत कशे सलासिल है मुसीबतों में इमामत की पहली मंजिल है सलाम भेजते हैं अपनी शाहज़ादी पर कि जिसको सौंप गए मरते वक्त घर सरवर मुसाफिरत में जिसे बेबसी ये दिखलाई निसार कर दिए बच्चे ना बच सका भाई असीर हो के जिसे शामियों के नर्रे में हुसैनियत है सिखाना अली के लहजे में सकीना बीबी तुम्हारे गुलाम हाजिर हैं अरे बुझे जो प्यास तो अशकों के जाम हाजिर हैं ये सिन ये हश्र ये सदमे नए नए बीबी कहाँ पे बैठी हो खैमे तो जल गए बीबी पहाड़ रात बड़ी देर है सवेरे में कहाँ हो शाम गरीबा के गुप अंधेरे में ज़मीन गर्म यतीमी की सख्तियाँ बीबी वो सीना जिस पे के सोती थी अब कहाँ बीबी जनाब मादर बेशीर को भी सब का सलाम
अजीब वक्त है क्या दे तसल्लियों के पयाम। अभी कलेजे में एक आग सी लगी होगी, अभी तो गोद की गर्मी न कम हुई होगी। नहीं अंधेरे में कुछ सूझता कहाँ ढूंढे, तुम्हारा चांद कहाँ छुप गया कहाँ ढूंढे। न इस तरह कोई खेती हरी बड़ी उजड़ी, तुम्हारी मांग भी उजड़ी है कोख भी उजड़ी। नहीं लाइनों में इंसान कोई खुदा हाफिज, दरिंदे और ये बेवारसी खुदा हाफिज। सलाम तुम पे रसूलो बतूल के प्यारों, सलाम मेरे इमामत के गिर्द सैयारों, सलाम मोहसिन इस्लाम खस्ततन लाशों, सलाम तुम पे शहीदों के बेकफन लाशों। रे बचे तो अगले बरस हम है और ये गम फिर है, जो चल बसे तो ये अपना सलाम आखिर है। सलाम खाक नशीनों पे सोगवारों का।
नारे सलावत।
अरे क्या दे जवाब ज़ैनबे दिलगीर अलविदा ज़ैना के बैन थे शाहे दिलगीर अलविदा। अरे अकबर हैं अब न कासिमो जाफर जहान में, अरे बाकी है एक आबिदे बिदलगीर अलविदा ज़ैना के बैन थे शाहे दिलगीर अलविदा। अरे अब्बास उठो आके बहन को करो सवार, अरे जाती है अब वतन को ये हमशीर अलविदा ज़ैना के बैन थे शाहे दिलगीर अलविदा। अरे हूँ देर से पुकारती देते नहीं जवाब, अरे अब रह गई बहन की तो पीर अलविदा ज़ैना के बैन थे शाहे दिलगीर अलविदा। अरे पहलू में दिल तड़पता है सुनकर तुम्हारे बैर, अरे जाओ सिदारो ज़ैनबे दिलगीर अलविदा ज़ैना के बैन थे शाहे दिलगीर अलविदा। अरे रुखसत हुसैन होते हैं शियो करो सलाम, अरे रुखसत हुसैन होते हैं शियो करो पुकार, अरे रोकर कहो के हजरते शाबीर अलविदा ज़ैना के बैन थे। सूरह फातिहा। चेलुम जो करबला में बातर का हो चुका, और फातिहा हुसैन के लश्कर का हो चुका। अरे पेबंद बेकसों के सरोतन का हो चुका, अरे मदफून लाश सिबते पयंबर का हो चुका, अरे मदफून लाश सिबते पयंबर का हो चुका। अरे मातम में 3 रोज रहे शोर रोशन से, रोए लिपट लिपट के मज़ारे हुसैन इमाम जलील है पर काबिल मिला जो हिफ्ज़े राज़ी मुझो रज़ाए इमाम जलील है। अरे पुश्तो पना उठ गया बेखानुमा हुई। अरे देखो ये पुश्त काबिले नो के सिना हुई। रोमा चेलों जो करबला में अरे मैं जानती थी शहर बसा होगा भाई का होगा हुजूम कब्र पा सारी खुदाई का। चेलूं करूंगी तुमसे मैं करबलाई का। अरे पुरसान भी नहीं कोई ज़हरा की जाई का। अरे मुठा पुने को आप ही पल्ला भी लेती हो और अपने दिल को आप ही पुरसा भी देती हो। चेलूं जो करबला में
मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम।
Assalamu alaikum, morning brothers. Before I call Maulana to as members, we want to say thank you on behalf of community, Maulana Syed Hassan Abedi, and may Allah bless him and his family, mashallah. This is his 4th year to come to the center, in Al-Murtaza Center, mashallah. And inshallah, we will be doing dua for his and his family to come next year or next time also to the community. May Allah bless in his and his family, and thank you for our community members also to cooperate and coming to the center every day and doing the Nazar al-Niyaz also. Loud salawat.
Salawat. وآل محمد.
Nare Haydari.
يا علي.
Nare salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبو القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وآله أهله طيبين الطاهرين المظلومين. قال الله في القرآن الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يريدون ليطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم والله متم نوره ولو كره الكافرون. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Allah says in the Holy Quran, they wish to extinguish the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with their mouths, but to the dismay of the disbelievers, Allah will always ensure His light shines on forever. Indeed, God is truthful. Ajurna wa ajurukum musabina Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Assalamu alaikum jamiyan wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers, dear sisters, dear elders of the community, condolences to you all on the day of Arabaeen, the 40th day after the martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the lights of guidance. This holy verse I discussed from the Holy Quran and recited, as I discussed yesterday, It is a verse that teaches us that the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to prevail. Attempts throughout history have tried to destroy the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have tried to destroy and erase the ethics and morals that have been given to us by Islam, but yet they have failed. Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam in the court of Sham, she said a very powerful message to Yazid. She says, "O Yazid, plan whatever you try to plan, scheme whatever you try to scheme, and try as best as you can to erase our remembrance, but you will always fail. Because you will never be able to erase our dhikr, our remembrance." She sent a warning to Yazid. And now, I want you to place yourself in that moment. Here she is, well, Yazid has Imam Hussein alayhi salam's head on a spear. They are captured, majority of them are women and children, in the court of the Umayyad in Sham. And she's saying, "O Yazid, it is not I, it is O you, whose days will be limited in number." She gave him a warning. She says that you will never be able to erase our remembrance, and your days will be limited in number. And what happened? They were freed, and who passed away a few months later? Yazid. Yazid's days were indeed limited. And again, and before this, in the court of Ibn Ziyad in Kufa, what was she asked? How did you feel about what we did to your family? And what did she say? "Ma ra'ayta illa jamila." I saw nothing but the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And people, until today, many of them are confused. How can someone who saw their entire family slaughtered, her children, her brother, both her brothers, and all members of her family slaughtered, how can someone in that position say, "I saw nothing but the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala"? And you fast forward till today, where are we? Sitting in the middle of the West, in South Carolina today, and us, along with all corners of the world, there's a majlis happening tonight. And if you go towards Iraq, we had the numbers released yesterday, 21 million people. Largest gathering in the world, year and year again. Now, where is the grave of Yazid? Does anyone know? No one knows. What did she say? You will never be able to erase our remembrance. Today, the most remembered individual in the entire world today is Imam Hussein. Every corner of the world. People who are here in South Carolina, can you even imagine in South Carolina you have much Imam Hussein alayhi salam. But every corner of the entire world, the most remembered individual is Imam Hussein. They were not able to erase their remembrance. But yet, and today the largest gathering in the entire world is where? Arabaeen. The Arabaeen of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They tried and tried again, but they failed. And at the end of the day, now do you understand what she meant by "I see nothing but the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala"? She knew this message would carry on. This would light a fire in the hearts of believers, of mu'mins across the world, who will carry on this message and revive it year after year. And year after year, this message will resonate in their hearts, and they would live through this message. They would spread Islam through this message. Year after year, what happens in these majalis of Imam Hussein alayhi salam? You learn how to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You learn ethics, you learn morals, you learn the goodness of religion. And it is basically Imam Hussein University for us, which helps us spread the message of Islam to ourselves and to the world, constantly. Now, when the verse of the Holy Quran says, people will try to extinguish the light of God, they tried to erase the family of Rasulullah. The Ahl al-Bayt that Rasulullah left behind. When he says, "I leave behind you two things, the Quran and the Ahl al-Bayt." They tried to erase them, but what happened? They couldn't. The children stepped up, the women stepped up, and they carried on the message till today. And this is a message that can never be erased. And people have tried, and as you have seen, tyrants have risen, and they have come towards their downfall. And now this is something that it's very important for us, because this time, it helps us change. We must draw strength from the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. 1400 years have passed. We have continued and safeguarded the message for this many years. And while it has been safeguarded, we also have another important mission and lesson that we can learn, is that how close are we to the personality that is Imam Hussein alayhi salam? That's something we must think and ask ourselves. We hear this story year after year. And I was talking to our brother yesterday, and he said a very beautiful point. He says that for 1400 years, you probably had millions of lectures on the story of Karbala. And every lecture was different. Why? Because there's a lesson for everyone. One difference between this battle and any other battle in history was that anyone, whether you're an old man, a young girl, a free man, a person who was a servant, whether you're a woman, an old woman, young woman, a mother, father, aunt, niece, nephew, every friend, every single individual can relate to the battle of Ashura, because there's a lesson for each and every single one of them, which no other battle in history has. Every other battle was fought between armies. This was fought between the family of Rasulullah and the tyrants. There's a big difference in this battle. And the lessons that we learned continue to help us today, but only if we act upon them. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, as much as he wants us to carry on this message in these gatherings, what he wants from us the most today is that we leave these gatherings changed individuals. We leave these gatherings changed individuals. We take the tears that we cry here, in turn take energy from those tears as a driving force to change our lives, to become closer to that individual who was Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and be like his companions. You know that the Arabaeen has been happening for 1400 years. 61 AH was the first visitor, Jabir. As you know, Jabir ibn Abdullah, he visited the 40 days after the martyr of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. When he heard Imam Hussein was martyred, he says, I have to go visit. And he was the first visitor on the 40th day who started this tradition of Arabaeen. And as we know, this tradition has carried on since then. And people have tried to stop it. Al-Mutawakkil al-Abbasi, the caliph, Abbasid caliph, what he used to do, he used to cut people's arms off if they used to go towards Imam Hussein for Arabaeen. And what does history tell us? One person used to come and say, here's my right hand, next year, here's my left hand. But do not stop me from doing this ziyarat Arabaeen. Why? Because this is greater than just visiting a grave. This is a symbol of resistance, a symbol of inspiration to all those across the world, that we will never allow people to eradicate the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him and his family. Salawat. As such, this ziyarat has carried on, because it's much more than just a visitation. Each step that you take, you're taking a step towards Imam Hussein and his path. It is more of not a physical journey, but a spiritual journey that we take. And for those who cannot do the physical journey, you must do a spiritual journey, because this is a time of change for us. You know, the number 40 has a very significant importance in Islam and all major religions of the world, even in Christianity and Judaism. If you read the Bible and the Torah, the number 40 is repeated multiple times, when it comes to Nabi Isa, when it comes to Nabi Musa. Even in Islam, we see that Nabi Adam alayhi salam, he prostrated for 40 days when he was sent away from Jannah. We see Nabi Musa was sent away for 40 nights. It says, the Quran says 39 nights plus 1, when he was getting the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we see the number 40, Rasulullah started spreading the message at the year of 40. The 40 has a very important significance. And Even there's a hadith from Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. Ma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Is that whoever repents and displays sincerity for 40 days, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant him asceticism, which is how to make him more zahid. Zuhud, they will grant him how to become someone who has zuhud and who practices zuhud in this life. And grant wisdom to his tongue. And again, it shows 40 days. Everything 40 days. We have many amal. It says, do this for 40 days, you're granted this. The number 40 has a very transformative power. And if we honestly look at all of the narrations, you understand that this number allows people to change. And so I researched, I looked over many scientific articles, and I realized that many people in psychology have said that when it comes to change, between 40 and 60 days is when new neural pathways are created in your brain. What does that mean? It means that anything that you're doing for 40 days, it becomes a habit. Right? So it allows you to change. It allows you, for example, if I start waking up in the morning and 6 a.m. every single day for 40 days, it'll become a habit. Right? And if I start doing certain things in the morning, it'll become a habit. Neural pathways in our brain will start being formed for this habit itself. And this will help us make that a habit itself. So hence, anything they do for these 40 days, during this time, if you make an effort to get closer to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and start becoming a better individual, any act that you do will help you change and transform, and it'll become a permanent habit that you have in your life. Right? So we must use this time to become better individuals. As we come to these majalis, as we come during this morning period and learn and understand what we're being taught, practice it. If you want to become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do little things every single day. Humans can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every single day by just practicing and doing new things every day and practicing and building upon them. Many people say that it's very hard for me to do something. Start it, and little by little, you'll eventually make it a habit in your life. Likewise, must use this time to transform us, because it is a time that allows us to change. And what does this teach us? That we are able to change. Allah has designed us so that we can create change in our bodies, in our minds. So no matter where you are in life, many people may say that I am far away from Imam Hussein alayhi salam, far away from his message. I have too many old habits I can't change. No, you can change. We have the ability. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given all of us the ability to change, to create new neural pathways. Our body has that ability, so we can change. As such, the Battle of Ashura, as I mentioned, has multiple lessons for everyone. And today I want to talk about these lessons. And I want you to apply these lessons in your life. Because for all the time that you'd spent in your life crying for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, if you have not applied these lessons, what you've learned from this battle, those tears have gone in vain. Because he wants you to use those tears to change yourself and to become better human beings, to spread the message that he died for and was martyred for. As such, the first message, if we look at Habib ibn Madahir, who was he? A man in his late 70s who, when he heard that Imam Hussein alayhi salam is alone and no one is there to support him, what did he do? He left everything and he ran towards Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So what do we learn from Habib? Habib was the friend of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We learn how to choose good friends. We learn loyalty. We learn that no matter what happens, your friends will either break you or make you in life. And a man is known by the company that he keeps. Remember this in life. So what do we learn? Habib, just because he was also the Imam of his time, but also because he had a close friendship. Right? So we learn two things. Loyalty to the Imam of your time, and one, friendship as well. How to choose good people, good companions. Who were the companions? They were not only followers, but they're also his friends. Companions are those who you spend time with. Those were Ashab al-Hussein. So we learn from Ashab al-Hussein what? Choosing good companions. Because why? You may think it's insignificant. But indeed, people you surround yourself with really affect your life and how you're going to grow up and the things and decisions that you make. You know, as a psychologist, Solomon Asch, he had an experiment called the conformity experiment. And what they did is they gathered a bunch of people and they wanted to see how the influence of groups affects individuals. So what they did is gathered a bunch of people together and they showed them lines, right? 5 lines. One line was clearly 3 times the size of the other lines, right? And they used to ask the people in groups, they put the 4 lines on one side and 1 big line on one side. And out of this one side, there was 1 line which matches this and 4 which are completely opposite sizes, right? So what they did, they planted people in there to see if they chose the wrong answer ultimately. Will the one individual who's not part of the program, will he choose the wrong answer because of influence? Now, we have individuals who are now in an experiment watching this happen. They present them 5 lines. 1 line is on this side, the size of this finger. This finger's on this side as well, but 5 other fingers here, all different sizes. The majority are constantly choosing the wrong finger, right? And they want to see what happens to the individual who's not part of the program. What do you think he does? He chooses the wrong finger, which is clearly wrong. Why? Because he felt that if he was out of place, he would feel out of place. He felt that he was wrong because the majority is always choosing the wrong answer. At the end, they told him it was an experiment. But what happened ultimately? They showed that 1 out of 3 times, every individual will do what the majority is doing, no matter what happens. So this is why, especially for the youth here today, and for the elders, choose the people you keep as your company wisely. This is why it says, keep company with mu'mineen, because they will encourage you to do good in your life. And this is one of the lessons that we learn from Habib bin Mudahir. Likewise, when we go on, we learn from Hazrat Hur, one of the most important lessons. We learn from him that no matter what happens in this life, no matter what sins you have committed in your life, no matter what station you're at, you can always come towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hazrat Hur was someone who prevented Imam Hussain alayhi salam from moving forward, prevented him from gathering water and his family. But what happened? One decision in the last moment of his life, few moments before, changed his entire destiny. What did he do? He moved towards Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And the reason I like to mention Hazrat Hur's story a lot, Hur bin Irahi, because he was an individual just like us. He was not masoom. He was a human being who was capable of sin, just like many of us. He has done wrong in his life, many things. But at the end, he showed us what is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One decision in his life, one little decision, changed the entire trajectory of his path. On one side, he was the leader of the army of shaitan, and the other, he became a leader of the army of those who were the awliya of Allah. And today, look at his shrine. Millions of people across the world today visit him, give him salam. But just 5 minutes or an hour before the end of his life, who was he? Who was he? Someone who was being an enemy to the Imam. What does this show us? That no matter what you've done in your life, you have the chance to change and come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah has not gone anywhere. You have. All you have to do is come back towards Him. This teaches about Allah's mercy, the chance He gives us. So as you come to these majalis, and if you feel far away from the religion, know that you can always come back. You know, in fact, Shaitan had said that, and he was talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says that I will not leave your creation until the last moment of his life. And Allah's response is what? Neither will my mercy. Neither will my mercy. In fact, we have a hadith from Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allah gives abundant sustenance to whoever He desires. And amongst his sustenance is that he spreads his mercy. And he keeps his mercy available to his individuals who commit the sins in the morning, available till the end of the night. What does this mean? Allah does not rush to punish you. In fact, He waits. If you committed a sin in the morning, just in case throughout the day you repented or you did something good that erases that sin, He waits till the end of the night to count that sin. He does not look to punish you. He looks to forgive you. That is the merciful Lord that we have. He reminds us 5 times a day. What do we recite? What name of His do we recite? And that's mandatory for us. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. The most beneficent and the most merciful. And both are merciful in itself, or different types of mercy. He reminds us time and time again. And this is what we learn from Hazrat Hur Ibn Rirai alayhi salam. And that everyone has the ability to change. You know, there was once a man, he used to be a robber. His name was Fudail. Fudail used to be a highway robber, one of the worst of his time. And what he used to do is people used to be terrified of him. And one day, what happened to him was that he ended up liking this girl. So he wanted to one day sneak into town and meet her. And just as he was about to do this, he heard a voice reciting the Holy Quran. And there was a very beautiful verse, verse 16 of Surah Al-Hadid, in which Allah says, "Has the time not come yet for the hearts of the believers to be humbled by the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?" Has the time not come yet for the believers' hearts to be humbled at the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not be like those who revealed the scripture before? What is this verse saying? It's a reminder. Has the time not come yet for those whose hearts are hardened to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and come towards the truth? He heard this one ayat and he changed his entire life. He then went on to become a scholar of Islam, actually. This Fudail is one of the scholars of Islam. But what happened? How did he change? One ayah of the Quran. And the reason I mention this to you is because you do not know what can change you. This is why it's so important to come to the Majlis. It could be one thing that I say, one Quranic ayah that you hear, one thing that you hear in the Nawha, the Latmiya, or the Marsiya. Anything could change you. As long as we are willing to change. So have that intention. If you feel far away from Allah, you are not far away. You can always come back. And remember this as you continue on with life. Then we learn from Ali Akbar and Qasim the importance of youth. They were youth, but what did they do? They did not care about the importance of worldly desires. What did Ali Akbar alayhi salam say? He says, if we are coming toward the truth, that towards me is sweeter than honey. He showed us what youth are capable of, Ali Akbar and Qasim, and the other youth that were there at the Battle of Karbala. But it also shows us what's the importance of our youth. Everyone thinks the biggest lie that we have, or deception that we tell ourselves, is that we have time. Many people I always hear, I'll do this and this when I get older. I'll do this and this when I get older. Who promised you that you're going to even live till tomorrow? Why does Allah swear by the time? He says, Wal asr. I swear by the time. To remind you that time is something that you'll never get back. And it'll pass you by. And if a lesson for the youth, as you've seen, majority of the people here are who? Elders. Ultimately, you end up back at the masjid at some point in your life. Because people realize later on what they missed out on. So take advantage of that time now. Because you don't know if you'll make it to that age. And it's very, very important because the Imams have told us so many times that make sure you take advantage of your youth before you lose it. Because the youth are those who are very easily able to absorb the message. And just like a house, when its foundation is strong, it'll last all the storms, throughout all the storms. Your foundation is being built right now in your age. Once it's built, very hard for you to change. Very hard for you to change. So take advantage of this time. Do not lose it, because time will pass you by. Remember, wal asr. Allah swore by time for a reason, because it is something that's an imminent truth for us. And the time will come for us all. So do not waste it. Then we learn loyalty from who? Hazrat Abbas. When he had the water in his hand and he didn't drink it. We learn selflessness. We learn that there's a responsibility we have to others beyond ourselves. Responsibility to our family, to our community. We are not individuals who should just care about ourselves in our life. We should care about others. We should care about those who are around us, and whether they are Muslims or non-Muslims. What does Imam Ali alayhi salam has said to us? Brother in faith or likeness and equal in creation. We should care for everyone. But it teaches us loyalty. In fact, Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, Ma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, she would spend all night in prayer. And one day Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he went and he said, "Oh mother, why do you spend all night?" He was trying to understand, why do you spend all night in prayer? But I never heard you ask for prayer for yourself. She says, I spend all night praying for others. Why? Because that is my responsibility. If our neighbors don't have food and we're eating with our bellies full, we have failed our responsibility as Muslims. Our responsibility is to our entire humanity, because everyone is a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we learned from Imam Hussein alayhi salam many things. Number one, mercy. He gave water to the army that was capturing his family. He made sure his last drops of water were given to them. He even fed their horses. In fact, we have many traditions that tell us that there were brothers who were running towards him. One brother, whose brother was martyred, he ran towards Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And when he got close to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he tripped and he fell in front of him. Imam Hussein at that time could have easily killed him. But Imam Hussein understood, this man is in rage. Why? Because his brother was just killed. He's running towards me in rage for his brother's death. He let him go back. He didn't do anything to him. He let him go back. He says, go back to the camp. He showed mercy. And many people tried to show Imam Hussein in Islam as someone who didn't care about the people, he just wanted battle. No. If you read the speeches and the words of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he reminds the people time and time again, am I not the son of the daughter of your prophet? Am I not the son of the daughter of your prophet? Do you not know my station? If you don't know, there are many companions of the prophet who are alive today. Go and ask them who I am. Why do you think Imam Hussein is doing this? Because he does not want them to suffer by killing him and his family. Because they will be banished to hell. They will suffer the consequences when they martyr the Prophet's family. He wants to save the people. Even those who are against him, he wants to save them. He reminds them time and time again, do you not know who I am? Do you not know who I am? Am I not the son of the daughter of your prophets? Am I not the one who the prophet said, I am from him and he's from me? Am I not the one who the prophet said that I am the leader of the youth of paradise? Do you not know the position of my mother and my father? Time and time again he used to tell them, because he wanted to save them from committing the greatest sin, martyring the grandson of Rasulullah. This is what we learned from Muhammad. And then we learn mercy. And we learn to uphold ethics and morals. The entire battle of Ashura, Imam Hussein showed us ethics and morals. And akhlaq. No matter what happened, he was never rude. He was showing akhlaq to everyone. The individual who fell in front of his feet, he said, go back, please, because I understand what you're going through in this time right now. Because akhlaq is the most important thing. And many hadiths teach us that akhlaq is it'll have the greatest weight amongst our deeds. Many people, many traditions tell us that signs of true believers are not how much times they pray, not how much times they fast, not how much ibadat they have done, but how good individual they are to others. How much akhlaq they have in their life. What are your ethics and morals? It's not what I tell you yesterday. Quran is majority of ethics and morals. And this is what the Prophet has told us. If the Prophet was told and asked, how can you summarize religion? He says, if I can summarize religion, I've come to you to perfect your akhlaq. Remember this. And the reason I emphasize all of this is because these are the lessons of Ashura. If we don't learn these and implement in our lives, what have we done carrying on this message for 1400 years? If we cannot show the world the true essence of the message today. If you be good individuals, you'll change humanity and society around you. And this is what Imam Hussein a.s. wants. Because he rose to do what? To reform the ummah of my grandfather. To reform the ummah of my grandfather. To bring it back to the teachings of Islam. The ethics, the morals. To enjoin what is good and forbid what is wrong. That is our responsibility today. And that's something we have to realize. And lastly, one of the most important lessons that we learn is from the companions. The companions, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, they gave up all the worldly gains, riches, whatever they could have gained from going against Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And they joined the Imam. Why? Because their heart was disattached from this dunya. Now I ask you a question. How is it possible that people, few years after the death of Rasulullah, were able to go and kill and martyr the grandson of Rasulullah? What was it that caused this? If you can summarize one thing that put him in that position, it was the love of this dunya. The attachment to this dunya. You know, Umar bin Saad, when he was called by Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad to tell him to go towards Imam Hussein and prevent him from reaching Kufa, Ubaydullah told him that you're going to get the land of Ray. Land of Ray is a piece of Iran, which is a very big land. Well, you'll be very wealthy if you get this land. Umar bin Saad says, he was confused at that moment. He says, I always wanted the land of Ray, but do I really want to kill the grandson of Rasulullah? He went home, he says, Ubaydullah, give me a time to go process this. I want to think about this and I'll tell you tomorrow. Mughira, one of his relatives, come and tell him that the land of Ray will not be worth you being accountable for the blood of Imam Hussein, the grandson of Rasulullah, on the Day of Judgment. Remember this. He still thought about it, he still thought about it, he still thought about it. The next day, Ubaydullah called him again. He says that decision time is now. You want the land of Ray? What did he say? He says that the land of Ray was a dream of mine which I cannot give up in this life, even though it's worth killing the grandson of Rasulullah, stopping or preventing the grandson of Rasulullah from doing what he needs to do, confronting him. What was the lesson here? Attachment of the dunya, right? Worldly, materialistic wealth prevented him from understanding that he's going to go to hell. And he's killing, who is he killing? The grandson of Rasulullah. Likewise, the people of Kufa, what occurred? They all sent thousands of letters. They all said, Labbaik ya Hussein. But what occurred? When Muslim al-Aqil went, he was martyred, left all alone. Because why? Ubaydullah, what did he do? He granted them money. He used to pay out people. Gave them so much money to stay away. Some he threatened with their life. But majority of them, he gave them money, gave them money, gave them money for support. So as you can see, many people, they left Imam Hussein alayhi salam just for the money. Just for the money. And not just money, just the concept is not money itself, it is attachment to the dunya. And why is this so important today is because today if we really want to change ourselves, we have to learn detachment from this dunya. You know, 20% of Americans are depressed. Many studies show 20% of Americans are depressed. And many studies also show that people who are depressed are likely attached their happiness to materialistic things and items, which leads towards more depression. But studies also show that people who attach their happiness to non-materialistic things are least likely to be depressed. What do you learn from this? The world has put us in this attraction towards materialism. About $150 billion is spent every year in America on marketing. Just in marketing alone of items. Why is this? Because they want you to be attached to the dunya, get closer and closer and closer. In fact, but this thing is a treadmill effect. There's a teaching that one of the individuals, they call it something called a treadmill effect. It means that you're going to keep wanting more and more and more. Treadmill keeps going and going and going. The more you get, the more you want. And everyone has experienced this. Many of you have probably bought your first car. After a few years, you want a new one. You felt happy, excited, then that went away. Now I want something else. Kids, your first toy, you want something else, you want something else. Constantly, constantly, constantly. Why? Because our hearts are not meant to be satisfied by this dunya itself. Right? They're not. But we're becoming so addicted to wealth, to pleasures of this world. Even people, I know people who, there was an interview of someone, influencers on social media, who said that if I lose my social media, I might commit suicide. Do you understand the value of life and what materialism is doing to us? And what this want of getting attention from this dunya is doing to us? It's ruining people. It's leading towards depression. Because what happens when you do everything for this world and it betrays you? And it will. You'll become depressed. Remember that. And that's one of the leading causes of depression, attachment to this dunya so much. And that's something that we have to learn how to change. And I'll tell you a story. There was a man who used to be a king. He spent and the angel of death, Azrael, he was asked the question, did you ever feel sad for taking someone's life? He says, yes, there was one man who spent his entire life trying to conquer this one city. From the day he was able to do anything in life, he tried conquering this city. Towards the end of his life, when he conquered that city, and he said, I'll never step foot in this city until it's mine. As the city got conquered, and he was about to march into that city, the order came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, take his soul. This man spent his entire life obtaining this material wealth. And what happened? Allah took his soul that moment. Like I said, wal asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. By time. And indeed, who do not be taking care of this time and understanding this time will be of loss. Right? People will indeed be of loss. Just like that, understand that. But look, here's the difference. We have to remember that what the Imams are teaching us here is not that you cannot like things in this world, not that you cannot have materials. There's a very big fine line between this. You can have things and have wealth, but you cannot be attached to it. You must know that everything that comes to you is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when it comes, say thank you. And when it goes, say thank you. Because Allah had given it to you, Allah could take it away from you. The difference is many people take this the wrong way. They say that you're teaching us that we shouldn't have nice things. No, you can have nice things. But your heart cannot be attached to this. And this cannot be the priority of your life at all. Because if you spend your entire life only obtaining wealth, it's a very bad decision, ultimately. Because your real 401k is what? Your akhirah. And the good deeds that you're accumulating in this life. So remember this. You know, that's the biggest factor in this life today, is attachment to this dunya, which will either make us or break us. And that's something we have to understand. And that'll keep us away or bring us closer to the Imam of our time today. Because many situations will come in your life. Well, you also will have to make the decisions that Hur had to make, that Umar ibn Sa'd had to make, where you have to choose between right and wealth. And if you are so attached to this dunya that you cannot detach yourself from that moment, you may even betray the Imam of our time today. Because I ask you this, how many people here say Labbaik Ya Hussein? The Labbaik Ya Hussein today of the Shia of the world today is like the letters of Kufa. You understand that? You're telling the Imam, we're here for you today. Just like the people of Kufa sent those letters. But you better make sure you're prepared to, when that call needs to be answered, you're there and ready to support it. Remember that. Because Imam Hussein alayhi salam, when he called out, is there anyone there to help me? Everyone who was there at that time was already there. But that line was written down in history. Why? Because that call was not for that time only. That call was for every Shia of every generation, of every Imam to come. Because we have to be there to answer that call today. Labbaik Ya Hussein is the answer to that call. Oh Imam, we are here for you today. But we have to be here with our actions, not just our words. With our ethics, our morals, our akhlaq, our good deeds, our support. We have to be ready for the Imam. Because the Imam, just like the Imam Hussein alayhi salam, at that point he needed his companions. He needed Abbas, Ali Akbar, Habib, Zuhair, and so on. The Imam of our time today needs us all to do our duty as well. And this is how we'll prepare for the Imam of our time, and prepare society, and make it better. And this is what we have been taught from the lessons of Ashura. And these are only very few lessons. But ultimately, how many of you can answer that call today when the Imam will call out Hal min Nasirin and Sunnah? Because the Imam, that day he was very lonely. Very, very lonely. And I want all of us to remember that day right now. To close our eyes and to imagine the Imam that day. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Peace be upon you, ya Rasul Aba Abdullah. Wa ala arwah allati hallat bifinaik. And upon all the souls that were gathered with you that day. Tonight we take our hearts to that day of Ashura. On the eve of Ashura, it was the last time the companions had seen the Imam of their time. Many had left. Imam was standing there alone. From the tents of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, all we would hear is the cries of Alatash. Alatash from the children of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The day went and the day of Ashura went. He spent his entire day carrying his family members back one by one. He used to go out and bring their bodies back himself. And then when the moment came and he held out to the people, Hal min Nasr yansurna. Is there anyone there to help me? It says that Imam Zain al-Abidin, he runs out towards his father and he says that, Ya Abati, Ayn al-Habib, "Oh my father, where is Habib?" He says, "Ya bunayya, qad qatlu al-Habib." They killed Habib. They martyred Habib. He says, "Ya Abedi, ayna Ali Akbar?" "Oh my father, where is Ali Akbar?" He says, "I had to gather his body and bring it back in pieces." He says, "Ya Abedi, ayna Abbas, Ammu Abbas?" He says, they cut off his arms. I had to find his arms. He says, "All my companions have left me today." And then he went towards the battlefield. And as he was going towards the battlefield, he heard a call from Sakina, "Ya Baba, Ya Baba, where are you going? Don't leave me alone." And as he went out towards the battlefield one last time, he said his salams to his family. And then they gathered him from left and from right. Omar said, "Attack him with everything that you have, with all your spears. If you don't have spears, pick up rocks. And whatever you do, attack the grandson of Rasulullah." And as he fell, and as the horse came back with down Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you see the cries from the tents of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the cries of Sakina, the cries of Zainab. Zainab runs towards the hills, as what is called today Tilla Zainabiyya. And she calls out to the people, "Ya wa Husayna, wa Husayna. Oh people, what have you done to the grandson of Rasulullah? What have you done to that head that was kissed by Rasulullah? Why is the head of my brother on a spear today?" Inna Allah wa inna ilahi raji'un. Let's say our salams together. As-salamu ala al-Husayn wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn wa ala awlad al-Husayn wa ala ashab al-Husayn. Inna Allah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Matam al-Husayn.
Ya Hussein.
Husayn.
Ya Hussein. 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 Ya Hussein.
Hussein. अलमदार को करो रुखसत,
अलम उठा के अलमदार को करो रुखसत,
ज़मीं पर बैठ के बीमार को करो रुखसत,
ज़मीं पर बैठ के बीमार को करो रुखसत,
सरों को पीट के सरदार को करो रुखसत,
सरों को पीट के सरदार को करो रुखसत,
बना के नन्ही सी तुरबत कहो खुदा हाफिज,
हुसैन होते हैं रुखसत करो खुदा हाफिज,
हुसैन होते हैं रुखसत
करो खुदा हाफिज,
बुझा चराग तो तारीफ ये जमाना हुआ,
बुझा चराग तो तारीख ये जमाना हुआ,
उदास उदास मेरे घर का आशियाना हुआ,
उदास उदास मेरे घर का आशियाना हुआ,
रसूल ज़ादा सुए करबला रवाना हुआ,
रसूल ज़ादा सुए करबला रवाना हुआ,
रसूल पाक की उम्मत कहो खुदा हाफिज,
हुसैन होते हैं रुखसत कहो खुदा हाफिज,
हुसैन होते हैं रुखसत
कहो खुदा हाफिज,
रज़ा न हाथ से छूटे हुसैन का दामन,
रज़ा न हाथ से छूटे हुसैन का दामन,
सदा बरसता रहे आंसुओं का ये सावन,
सदा बरसता रहे आंसुओं का ये सावन,
अज़ाए शह से महकता रहे मेरा गुलशन, अज़ाए शह से महकता रहे मेरा गुलशन, न कम हो शह की मोहब्बत कहो खुदा हाफिज,
हुसैन
होते हैं रुखसत
कहो खुदा हाफिज,
हुसैन होते हैं रुखसत
कहो खुदा हाफिज,
या हुसैन 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 या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
या हुसैन
हुसैन अल-गरीब अल-गरीब अल-हुसैन, हुसैन अल-शहीद अल-शहीद अल-हुसैन, हुसैन अल-गरीब अल-गरीब अल-हुसैन, अल-शहीद अल-शहीद अल-हुसैन, दुआई दुआई खुदा रा दुआई, ये दश्ते बला में है कैसी तबाही, पाया है किसने ये खून-ए मुहम्मद, कयामत ये दाई है किसने इलाही, जवानों बुजुर्गों को मारा गया है, शहीदों में शामिल है अन्ना सिपाही,
हुसैन अल-गरीब अल-गरीब अल-हुसैन, हुसैन अल-शहीद अल-शहीद अल-हुसैन,
किया जश्न बर्पा यूं अहले हवस ने, शहीदों के लाशों पे डंके बजाए, चला दाने आले मोहम्मद के खैमे, सकीना के मुंह पर तमाचे लगाए, जो बीमार था उसका बिस्तर न छोड़ा, ज़ादियों पर भी दुर्रे चढ़ाए,
हुसैन अल-गरीब अल-गरीब अल-हुसैन, हुसैन अल-शहीद अल-शहीद अल-हुसैन,
उठी अपने मरकज से बिन्ते मोहम्मद,
छाई है, पर से अलम से आंखों में बारिश छाई है। बाबा खबर ये आपने कैसी सुनाई है, बाबा खबर ये आपने कैसी सुनाई है। आता नहीं है मेरा दिल दर्दमंद चैन, हुसैनो मिन्नी माना मिनल हुसैन, हुसैनो मिन्नी माना मिनल हुसैन। फिर सैयदा ने पूछा है ताजे सरे यकीन, फिर सैयदा ने पूछा है ताजे सरे यकीन। कहिए अबुल हसन भी तो होंगे वहाँ करीब, कहिए अबुल हसन भी तो होंगे वहाँ करीब। मैं और होंगे कायबे कहाँ नहीं, मैं और आप होंगे कहाँ कोई नहीं। ना मैं ना तुम होंगे अले फातहे हुसैन, हुसैनो मिन्नी माना मिनल हुसैन, हुसैनो मिन्नी माना मिनल हुसैन, हुसैनो मिन्नी माना मिनल हुसैन। या हुसैन, 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 या हुसैन,
भाई के
था जिस बच्ची को वक्ते आखिर
आपने सोचा था जिस बच्ची को वक्ते आखिर
शाम की कैद में जिंदान उसे शाम की कैद में बच्ची उसे रोई है
भाई के दफन को मजलूम बहन आई है भाई के दफन को मजलूम बहन आई है
आपने सौंपा था जिस बच्ची को वक्ते आखिर
आपने सोचा था जिस बच्ची को वक्ते आखिर
शाम की कैद में बहना उसे खोई है
भाई के दफन को मजलूम बहन आई है भाई के दफन को मजलूम बहन आई है
सर बसोते हो क्यों चेहरे मेरे भाई अब्बास नहर पर
सोते हो क्या चैन से भाई अब्बास
हील बाजू के दिखाने को
बहन आई है भाई के दफन को मजलूम बहन आई है भाई के दफन को मजलूम बहन आई है के दफन को मजलूम बहन आई है भाई के दफन को मजलूम बहन आई है
على صفي الله وابن صفيه. السلام على الحسين المظلوم الشهيد. السلام على أسير الكربات وقتيل العبرات. اللهم إني أشهد أنه وليك وابن وليك وصفيك وابن صفيك الفائز بكرامتك، أكرمته بالشهادة وحبوته بالسعادة واجتبيته بطيب الولادة وجعلته سيدا من السادة وقائدا من القادة وذائدا من الذادة وأعطيته مواريث الأنبياء وجعلته حجة على خلقك من الأوصياء فاعذر في الدعاء ومنح النصح وبذل مهجته فيك ليستنقذ عبادك من الجهالة وحيرة الضلالة، وقد توازر عليه من غرته الدنيا وباع حظه بالأرذل الأدنى وشرى آخرته بالثمن الأوكس وتغطرس وتردى في هواه وأسخطك وأسخط نبيك وأطاع من عبادك أهل الانشقاق والنفاق وحمله الأوزار المستوجبين النار فجاهدوه فيك صابرا محتسبا حتى سفك في طاعتك دمه واستبيح حريمه. اللهم فلعنهم لعنة وبيلا وعذبهم عذابا أليما. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن سيد الأوصياء. أشهد أنك أمين الله وابن أمينه. عشت سعيدا ومضيت حميدا ومت فقيدا مظلوما شهيدا. وأشهد أن الله منجز ما وعدك ومهلك من خذلك ومعذب من قتلك. وأشهد أنك وفيت بعهد الله وجاهدت في سبيله حتى أتاك اليقين. فلعن الله من قتلك ولعن الله من ظلمك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. اللهم إني أشهدك أني ولي لمن والاه وعدو لمن عاداه بأبي أنت وأمي يا ابن رسول الله. أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة. لن تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولن تلبسك المدلهمات من ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المسلمين ومعقل المؤمنين، وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي، وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا، وأشهد أني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم موقن بشرائع ديني وخواتيم عملي، وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع، ونصرتي لكم معدة حتى يأذن الله لكم، فمعكم لا مع عدوكم، صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وأجسادكم وشاهدكم وغائبكم وظاهركم وباطنكم، آمين رب العالمين. صلوات
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum ya Abu Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum ya Ibn Rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum ya Ibn Amir Mu'minin. Assalamu alaikum ya Fatima Sayyidul Nisa al-Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum ya Gharibul Ghuraba. Assalamu alaikum ya Mudafa'il Fuqara. Assalamu alaikum ya Mughir Shad wa Zawalish Yawm Rizal. Assalamu alaikum ya Nisa Nufus. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum ya Sahib Wasi wa Zaman. Assalamu alaikum ya Khalid Rahman. Assalamu alaikum ya Imam wal Jan. Assalamu alaikum ya Madad Iman. Assalamu alaikum ya Shaykh al-Quran. Assalamu alaikum ya Imam Zaman ya Hadha Jalla Fajra. Basallallahu wajhaka al-Kubra. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.